Good morning, Kitchen Witches. This is your tarot and menu inspiration for the day. My name is Chef Lisa, editor-in-chief of a Chef's Grimoire magazine. There it is. And guess what, guys? This is the very, very first issue. It came out in January 2026. And this obviously is the hard copy, but I have the digital copy up for anybody to see. It's free, because I called this one timeless, so it goes on forever, as hopefully they all will, but this one is the Fool, the very first one. So if you want to check it out, go to achefsgrimoire.com/the reading, and this will come up. All right, so with that, we are going to choose one card today, which is what we do in the magazine, and we menu plan with it. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. In addition to learning the card, because, I've got to give you some insight on what the card means, whatever it is today. And then we're going to tell you what kind of meals it would prepare, right? Or it's going to tell us what meals to prepare. And that is pretty much everything. Who needs to do anything else today but menu plan for themselves and go about the day feeling the energy of the card of the day. So with that, what is it? It is the High Priestess. Yes. So Major Arcana, the High Priestess, she is our conduit between the physical and the higher planes, right? She is can pass through the veil easily. All she has to do is sit, close her eyes, meditate, and she's there. And she can gather all the answers, right, that we don't normally have access to here on the ground. So as depicted, it is a priestess who is sitting, right? And when these major arcanas are in a seated position, it means that they're very comfortable with their ruling, with their power. They're very comfortable. It's not submissive. It just means I don't need to prove myself to anybody, right? I know who I am. I'm solid with all the information I have and know, and I'm willing to tell you what it is, but I'm going to be comfortable doing it. I don't have to stand there with my arms crossed and say, I'm the king, right? They don't need that. They know that they're powerful, and they know how to use their power, and they're comfortable with it. That's what it means when a major is sitting. So our lovely High Priestess has this crown upon their head. And what that is the ancient symbol for the harvest. It's the sun with two antlers on either side, and that's the ancient symbol of Isis crown, which is the sun with two antlers, because the antlers of the oxen, I think they're called antlers, the horns. The horns of the oxen used to pull the plow that used to plow the fields and get the grain and all of that. So it's the ancient way of doing it. And the sun is the golden disc in the center, right? Now, the other way to look at this is the sun with two crescent moons on either side. But either way, it's nature, right? And it's powerful nature. So that's what's upon their head. They have an even armed cross in the dead center, right? It's not the Christian cross, it's an even armed cross. They also are holding what looks like, because of the wording on it, Tara, a scroll that says Tara on it. But could it be that the veil is covering the last letter, which is a T, and then it's tarot, right? The crescent moon also at their feet. And behind the two pillars is a drape that is depicted with a whole bunch of pomegranates on it. Pomegranates are a sacred fruit. It's said they have 613 seeds in every pomegranate, And supposedly there are 613 rules within, or laws within, the Torah. So they're sacred for that purpose. But also in mythology, Persephone, who went to the underground, the whole way she gained knowledge and was able to come back up was when she ate 3 pomegranate seeds. So, yeah. There's a lot to be said about pomegranates, right? And they're a very intuitive fruit, right? So, and that's what our friend the high priestess is intuitive. Simply because, again, they have the ability to cross between here and the higher realms for answers. Now, we have these 2 pillars here. This is, the black one is B for Boaz, and the J is for Jachin, which were the 2 pillars that were in front of Solomon's tomb. And anyone who passed through the 2 pillars were either very, very high, up with their wisdom and what have you, to go into the tomb, because it was guarded by sphinxes, and you had to solve riddles, and not just any commoner could go through there, right? You had to be of major status. And so these 2 pillars, along with the sphinxes, along with many other things that were traps and things that you couldn't go into that tomb, she sits between them. So interestingly enough, it's also like the black and the white, the male, the female, the conscious, the unconscious, and again, she's the conduit between all of it. So if you ever are in a pickle and you need to get out of it, and you've tried everything, maybe it's time to sit and ask the high priestess for assistance, because they will provide the answers you need. Yeah, great card. Great card. Numbered 2. Now, the first archetype, the fool meets on the journey, is the magician, right? And they're numbered 1, which is all about the self, learning yourself. Then you meet the high priestess, which brings you to meeting and duality, right? Now you're there's one other. And same with the 2 pillars, right? She sits between them. 2 is a very diplomatic number. It's all about building relationships. And with the high priestess, it's building a relationship between your tangible self and your spiritual self. So the magician is more, even though they're magical, they really teach the fool more about what's on the ground, what's here, utilizing the elements, how to do that. And then the high priestess brings us into another realm, into the 2. So if the high priestess comes into your day today, what are you seeking, right, from knowledge, right? Maybe it's something that isn't tangible. Maybe it's something that, you get downloads in the shower. I know I do, right? I'm doing something absolutely mundane, washing myself in the morning. I'm half asleep. And all of a sudden I hear something that I'm like, that's the answer that I was looking for. Maybe it's a problem I've been thinking about for days, right? How to solve it. And all of a sudden it just boop, comes. That is a high priestess moment because it's a download from the universe. Obviously no one is in the shower with me. And yes, people could say it's me talking to myself, but I don't know. I've been thinking about how to problem solve this for a long time and not coming up with answers. And then all of a sudden, bang, it's there. So that would be a moment where the high priestess just downloaded information to you. Yeah. So did that happen today? Right? Maybe you're driving in your car and all of a sudden you see a sign and it says yes. And you were on the cusp of making a decision. You just didn't know what to do. And you see the sign, it says yes. And you're like, well, then that's the answer. It's very uncanny how the universe speaks to us, but it does. It speaks to us every day, and it's up to us to pay attention. So what would the high priestess make if they were to be brought into the kitchen? Well, I'm thinking for breakfast, we can do a coffee chia pudding. Have you ever made a chia pudding? Or you can even use flax seeds, right? It doesn't have to be chia, but the chia is nice because you can see the black seeds in the pudding, right? So very easy to do, and you can look up any recipe online, but we're gonna make it coffee flavored. So you're gonna brew up a little espresso if you have an espresso machine, or just a really strong coffee. And that's going to go into the liquids that are then going to set up in the fridge to be a pudding the next morning. And I like the idea of coffee for the high priestess, not because she needs to be caffeinated to do anything. She doesn't. But for us, caffeine makes us more aware. So living in the tangible world, sometimes we could walk around with blinders on, right? Being very focused on one thing and not seeing everything. But a little caffeine will open your eyes a little wider and maybe make you more accepting of taking on tasks that before you were a little too tired to do. And maybe that one task will bring you in a completely different direction that's towards maybe the problem you want to solve, or veering off the road a little bit differently because you see that sign that says yes. Yeah, so that's why I went there. All right, coffee chia pudding for breakfast. For lunch, what about a sweet potato azuki bean burger? Yeah, so vegetarian, delicious, I might add. Azuki beans have a sweetness that no other bean has. And they are readily available. You can get them definitely at the health food store, but I've seen them also in conventional grocery stores. So seek them out. And then what you do is you roast some sweet potato, peel it, dice it, put it in the oven. Olive oil, sea salt, or avocado oil, sea salt, whatever you want to do. Butter, whatever. Into the oven, 400, for maybe 15, 20 minutes because you're cubing them small. And then you take those and you mash them a little bit when they come out of the oven with some mashed azuki beans, a little sauteed onion, sauteed garlic. If you want to, a pinch of any kind of spice. It doesn't need to be Mexican. And then you form that into a burger. Now the sweet potatoes should hold the burger together without needing to add any egg or any binder of flour or anything like that. But if it doesn't, then of course you can add an egg in there too. Just make sure all your ingredients are cooled before you add the egg. Make it into your burger and then pan fry it or grill it, whatever. If it's delicate and it's not holding together very well, then maybe the air fryer or a pan. You're going to also saute some spinach because that's going to top the burger. And then you can slice up a little cucumber with some fresh dill, and that would be your side component. If you want a bun, terrific. I don't know if the high priestess would have a bun. I think it would just be the burger on the plate with the pile of little baby spinach on top, and then the cucumber salad on the side with fresh dill. Maybe a squeeze of lemon or lime juice. Delicious, yeah. And it's not heavy, so it will keep you lighter, satiated, so you're not constantly thinking about, when's my next meal. It'll keep you satiated, but it'll give you the room to focus, right? Instead of being, I had a heavy meal, now all I want to do is take a nap, or, you know what I'm talking about. It's lighter, but satiating enough to keep you full until dinner. High priestess. For dinner, we are going to do a sheet pan ratatouille, and we're going to serve that over zucchini noodles. Again, a lighter meal, so we're not going to use pasta, which sometimes can weigh us down. We're gonna do the ratatouille delicious. This is the way I make it, right? So you take your zucchini, you take your summer squash, you take your eggplant, bell peppers, and Roma tomatoes. If it is the dead of winter, then instead of the summer squashes, use butternut squash, right? Or red onion and bell peppers, right? Hothouse bell peppers. And then you chop all those up into cubes, all about the same size. Throw them on a sheet tray, olive oil, sea salt, right? You spread them out. And off to the side, I push all the vegetables so that I have a little area on the side of the sheet pan on top of the parchment paper, which if I didn't say, you are lining it with parchment, unless it's a stainless steel sheet pan, but if it's aluminum, line it. And then you get whole garlic cloves that have been peeled, and you just throw a little clump right there in that little hole that's kind of off to this one corner of the sheet tray. Douse those with a little olive oil, sprinkle them with sea salt into the 400-degree oven. This all goes for maybe 30-40 minutes. Watch the garlic. You may have to take it out sooner than the rest of the vegetables. But you want to get it so that when you pierce it with a knife, there's no resistance. It's tender. Take that garlic out, put it into a cup, and cover it with foil so that it remains supple and doesn't dry out, right, or get crispy. We don't want a crispy garlic. We want it to be nice and supple. Put that off to the side until the rest of your vegetables are done, and then take those out, let them sit. If you wish, you can take a little marinara or a tomato puree and put just a little bit on top of those vegetables. Put it back in the oven for 5 more minutes, and that will make the ratatouille a little more saucy. They'll lose a little of their liquid by themselves, but if you want them to be a little more saucy, a tomato puree or what's it called with the P? It's kind of like tomato broth. Passata, I think it's called. You can use that too. It's just to give it a little more sauce. Now your garlic has been resting. It's off to the side. It's still supple. Take the aluminum off the top of the jar or cup or whatever you put them in. Chop them up super fine and sprinkle them all over your ratatouille. You're done, right? Delicious. If you want to, you could, if you have the fresh herbs, you can buy them from the grocery store, but you can chop up some fresh rosemary, fresh thyme, fresh basil, right? Chiffonata basil leaves. And then you sprinkle all that on top. And while all that's roasting in the oven, you're taking your machine to do your zoodles, right? So you're making zucchini noodles. And I don't know about you, but I don't cook my zucchini noodles because they always get limp and no, I don't know. I mean, even when I try to cook them in the pan, they always just limp out. So I just do them raw. Just do a bowl of raw zucchini noodles and put the hot sauce over it. The hot sauce we just made, the ratatouille. Sorry, I was thinking about, never mind. Okay, so that is it. That is our high priestess. That is what she would cook. And now you can go off on a tangent, right? You have some great meals that are inventive and compliments of the high priestess. So bring her into your day. She's beautiful and she'll give you all the answers. You just have to be accepting of them and her. And in the meantime, nourish yourself. Nourish all those around you with your kitchen magic. See you tomorrow.